Hello, here we go. It's the Copite Podcast.
What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to another Copite Podcast. It's been a long time, but we're back again for another one. I'm Mick, and I'm joined by, I'm going to say regular guest now. I'm going to say regular guest Farrell Keeling from Empire of the Cop, because I don't know. I reckon you're on double hat-trick scores these days. I think you're getting up to 6 or 7s, aren't you, I think?
No, it's an honour to be here again. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Lara. And we've also got Doug from the Dugout Football channel. Thanks for jumping on, Doug. Appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure, and great to make my second appearance on here as well. And hopefully a better appearance this time, because I remember the last appearance I made, I think, was the Southampton review that we lost 1-0. So it can only get better from here on in. But no, thank you very much for asking me, and it's a pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about that before we started the recording. The Southampton game, there's no way, surely, I know I'm just probably fucking cursing it now, but there's no way it can be any worse than that, surely. But yeah, we're here to have a little chat about the Reds, the upcoming game against Norwich today, which is in about just under 2 hours. So it will be here for the team news at about 2ish. But I just thought we'd start with Inter. And obviously a boss 2-0 win at the San Siro. And I just thought we'd have a little chat about that first and feelings before the game, and then obviously the result on that. But I thought I'd start with you, Farrell. What were your thoughts in terms of the starting lineup at that one? Because obviously Harvey Elliott, 18 years old, gets his Champions League debut. And I mean, he didn't set the world alight, but I don't think any of us really thought he would or should, because we know how good he is, but he's at that age where you can't expect too much maybe from a kid in his first Champions League game. But how did you feel about that starting lineup when it first came out?
I mean, I was quite glad to see it, to be honest with you. As you rightly said, I think we shouldn't get too carried away with the level of performance, because he is 18 years of age. If anything, he's defying our expectations rather than letting us down. We had this sort of going to the start of the season when he got that sort of first. He was lobbed in, got the 90 minutes in the spell, and I think everyone was sort of like, oh, this is a bit risky, the lad from the Championship, even though he was quality with Blackburn. Proved us wrong. Ultimately, I think it's a big occasion. I think we also need to remember going into the San Siro against Inter Milan, I'd argue, is harder than going against AC Milan at the current point in time. Historically, maybe not. So yeah, I think I was reasonably sort of happy with the starting lineup, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, what were your thoughts, Doug? Were you surprised by it? I mean, I don't know if I was surprised, only because of I think the Hendo picked up a little bit of an injury, didn't he, before the game, in the previous game. And I think that maybe opened the window for Klopp to use it as not an excuse, but kind of, you've picked up a little knock. I think Klopp said the thing that he had on his leg looked like a pair of lips, which is a bit mad. So it must have been a bit of a weird little bruise he had going on there, but it paved the way for Harvey Elliott to come in and get. I think he got 60 minutes, which was nice to see, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I was pleasantly surprised as well. I like Klopp going and being bold by putting Elliott in from the start, and I think he deserved his start. Bit of first game pre-nerves, obviously being in Europe as well, but I thought he did okay. And yeah, I think if we look at the game as a sort of a whole, I think him getting 60 minutes in Europe will just make him ever more confident to have more game time in the future. But no, I was very, very happy to see him in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I think we in terms of the game, and let's just jump into that a little bit. Obviously, I think it was like 14, 15 minutes. We had a really good chance to open the score, and I think it was Sadio Mane who offered Andy Robertson free kick, and a player of the quality of Sadio Mane, you probably expect him to at least hit the target, but he didn't quite do it. And then I think it was like a minute or two after that, they go down the other end, and I can never say his name, Çalhanoğlu hits the underside of the crossbar with a rasper, and you're like, fucking hell. That was I think that kind of opened the floodgates to them a little bit to kind of go, right, we've got a little bit of a footing in this game. And that first half was a bit of a mad one, wasn't it, Farrell, in terms of, it felt like a bit of a game of chess, really. Like they were kind of feeling us out, and they were pushing the wing backs quite far up and as wide as they could be. I think Bastoni and then you had Dumfries and Perisic kind of, as those three in particular, were kind of as far as you could be to the touchline without being in the technical area. I think that was the tactic, to kind of maybe long balls over to Perisic and target Trent in a way, because they knew Trent would maybe be a bit farther forward than Andy Robertson. But I thought that first half, it was I think that's kind of what Liverpool do. We kind of test the water, see what the opposition's going to do, and then we can acclimatise accordingly. And I think that was kind of what it was, wasn't it, that first half?
No, absolutely. I think, especially, I'm glad you mentioned the right flank, because Trent really got it in that first half and sort of handled it sort of reasonably well. I think a lot of the sort of thing that's been said is, to such an extent that sort of Virgil almost had to go up another gear to sort of handle that threat, which is a rare thing by Virgil, because we know he almost looks lazy. He's that good. He handles it at his own pace, and I think it's certainly testament to the fact that he is starting to sort of find his feet again after that sort of long-term injury, which is fantastic news for us and absolutely frightening news for anyone else in Europe or domestically. I thought like a really sort of good game for a neutral, actually, while I was watching it. But sort of I was there, it was end to end, and I was like, this could go either way, really, in the first half. And then thankfully, the substitutions were made. We sort of got a bit more sort of control of the midfield, and it was more about sort of like keeping hold of the ball, and then just sort of, neatly sort of progressing it into the final third, and ultimately paid off.
Yeah, and like we'll come to the substitutions, but I think it was half time, wasn't it, where unfortunately Diogo Jota gets that injury, and you kind of, the commentators mentioned he's not coming. Firmino's warming up, and you're like, what's this going to be? Is this a tactical substitution? And you realise it's not. It's an injury, which Klopp said it's not the ligaments, but it's around the ligament area. So he is missing today, which we'll get onto a bit later in the show. But Doug, how was your feeling? Obviously, Firmino coming on that first half, kind of, like I said, was a bit of a chess game. Virgil van Dijk was just heading stuff away for fun, and maybe a throwback to his Southampton or Celtic days, where he's just relishing the thought of actually defending maybe properly, because obviously with Liverpool we play that high line where he makes blocks and he makes headers, but he doesn't defend in a way maybe the bottom half of the Premier League defend in that regard. But I thought second half, from the start of the second half till about the 60-minute mark into Milan, where we're boss and we couldn't get out. Mm-hmm. I think at one point Van Dijk, I think he fucking karate kicks a ball like 70 yards, and there was no one there to chase it, which is very rare for the Liverpool team. So I think we weathered that storm and we got through it, and it was good to see us kind of get through that and then kind of start to impose ourselves on that game.
Yeah, I think the thing for me was Firmino changed the game when he came on. I think he brought something that what Jota did. What I have to say, I thought they marshalled Jota out of the game really, really well. Bastoni, Skriniar, and De Vrij. I thought they did really well to marshal him out. And Salah and Mane were on the opposite flanks as well. But Firmino coming on just had that little bit more creativity, that little bit more movement, and it made them think a little bit. And then obviously we'll come on to talk about the goal as well. It's a wonderful header. Absolutely wonderful header. It's like a back header. Like you saw what's his face? Javi Hernandez used to do it all the time for Manchester United. Some strikers just have a natural belief that they'll get a header into the back of the net, and it was a great corner from Andy Robertson in that as well. But yeah, I think Firmino just coming on changed the game ever so slightly, because it gave them a little bit of thought that, okay, well, we're in for a game here, something different to deal with. And I don't think Inter dealt with Firmino at all.
Yeah, I think Firmino drops a lot deeper, doesn't he? And he's got that quality to pick up the ball and maybe a deeper pocket than Jota would. I think Jota prefers to be on that left-hand side or dropping maybe into the 10. But you see Bobby sometimes on the halfway line, just picking the ball up and causing havoc. And I think maybe I don't think he's as effective. I mean, in hindsight, you can say he's the perfect sub, but in most games when he comes off the bench, he's usually not as good, only because he kind of does take a while maybe needs to feel his way into the game. So I think that first maybe 10 minutes of the second half, it seemed like every touch he was taking was just bouncing off, and he couldn't get hold of it. But then obviously he pops up with a goal, and you're like, well, that's exactly why he's been brought on for, which was absolutely, like you said, Doug, a perfect goal. But before we move on, let's just have a little look through these comments. We've got a few people in the chat here. We've got Paul, afternoon all. We've got Liz, good morning, good people, good morning. I don't know where Liz is, but is she in Europe somewhere, or
she's in Florida?
Oh, fucking hell. Fancy pants. Wish I was. We've got Zubin as well. Hello, boys. Nice one for jumping in, Zubin. We've got Dan looked like he played almost a stereotypical Bielsa man v man system. Lots of individual duels. We showed the higher quality. Yeah, that's a good point, isn't it, Farrell? Like it did seem like Bastoni. I think it was Bastoni up against Salah, and I think it was Skriniar up against Jota and De Vrij up against Mane. I might have that completely, but it was like Dan said, it was like they kind of did matches up 3 for 3, and then those fullbacks, which was Dumfries and Perisic, which both did do well in the game. It was kind of they were relying on those two. But what are your feelings on that? Do you think that was a good tactic employed by Inter? Do you think it was the only tactic they had to kind of make sure they could maybe stifle us? Do you reckon that was the best option for them to go in that kind of style?
Absolutely. I think you do notice at times where I think you go back sort of early when we sort of first sort of brought on, the likes of Salah from Roma and that, you sort of get, teams sort of get lumping sort of players on to focus on Mane, focus on Salah, and it just doesn't. I mean, it's a terrible idea, isn't it? Because the problem is if you leave one free, it's a problem. So I think you almost can't approach a game trying to sort of overload sort of one forward flank. I mean, obviously, I think we're going back to what you were saying sort of earlier with Trent. I mean, it's not the first time we've seen that, have we, when they've sort of tried to sort of put that sort of overload sort of pressure on our sort of fullbacks and stifle, because if you stifle the fullbacks, you're cutting out a large portion of the creativity that we can offer. I'd agree that certainly helped. I think one thing I'd also sort of like to point to that ultimately sort of obviously helped Klopp, as we sort of alluded to earlier with Firmino sort of coming on, is the 5 substitutes. Which massively changes everything, really. And you can see why Klopp was so keen to kind of push for it domestically in the Premier League as well. Because I think, you're looking at sort of the team we're building, and depth has often been used as sort of a stick to beat us with. But you look at sort of the signings we've made in recent years, Thiago, Jota, more recently, Luis Diaz. We've got those players now where you can go, if you've got 5 substitutes, you can make them. You can make, you brought on Diaz, who I want to say was absolutely superb, actually, in the few minutes he got. Brought on Firmino, got the goal. So yeah, absolutely. I think you almost do have to go man to man, but then, you, as rightly pointed out, you are subject to quality. And the fact of the matter is Liverpool have absolutely bundles of it.
Yeah, and I think, like we said, between the 45 and 60-minute mark, that was where we struggled a little bit, and it's no coincidence, is it, Doug, that once we did bring on, so it was Diaz for Mane, Hendo for Fabinho, and then Keita for Elliott. That's when we did get a foothold in the game, and obviously the goal then follows 15 minutes after that, but we needed that more energy in the midfield, didn't we? I think the only one that I was like, I'm not sure about was bringing Hendo on for Fabinho. I thought Hendo might come on for someone else. I thought Hendo might come on for Elliott and play on that right-hand side. But I think Hendo had a little point to prove, because, I mean, I don't know how much he reads on social media, but he was getting a bit of a bollocking from a certain section who just kind of, these reactionary knobheads basically on social media who just want a brand new shiny toy every week, a new sign every week and whatever. But I think Henderson came on, and he was a man possessed, weren't he? And I think, like Farrell rightly said, Diaz, I don't even think Diaz knows what he's going to do next with the ball. And I think if he doesn't know, how the fullback's going to know. And I think that is why he's been people have been saying he's kind of like a Mane incarnate. When Mane first signed, he's kind of got that raw ability, that raw creativity and directness that is so vital, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a perfect 3 subs to make, wasn't it? Like Diaz for Mane. Diaz had pace to, really counter Inter. He was unlucky. He actually gives you something different. He actually takes on defenders and then has a wee shot where Mane's off the ball movement is probably one of the best in world football. But the substitution I want to talk about is Naby Keita. I think since the Africa Cup of Nations, he has put on a bit of muscle. You know, I think everyone was remembering that he was getting like held off the ball a lot. But actually, when you look at his performance against Inter, he was actually the one holding players off the ball. Looks like he's putting a little bit of muscle, and it's a good thing as well because he's actually had a good African Cup of Nations. Obviously, I know people will obviously know that I covered the African Cup of Nations. I watched every single game that Guinea did, and he was their best player. So for him to come on was excellent, and Hendo had a good performance as well. Yeah, we will come on to. He did give Matip the death stare, which was hilarious. But Joe, that's what Joe Matip is. He's Mr. Wind Up Merchant. No. I think there's a load of people getting reactionary on Twitter about Henderson. Yes, his form hasn't been the best since he signed a new contract. But one thing you can say is he has been our most influential captain since Steven Gerrard.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. I think he's. It's just funny the Jordan Henderson story, isn't it? Because he was obviously came in as a big money signing and was kind of undervalued, I suppose, in a way, and he was getting put in certain positions because he works hard, the right of a midfield four, just positions where this isn't his best position, but he's doing it for the team, and then he's obviously garnered that popularity that he has in recent years because of how influential he is for us. I think if he plays bad 1 game in 10. There's always that reaction that is like, oh yeah, we need to bring Elliott in or whatever. This reactionary thing to have more creativity in the midfield, and I think that's a part of Henderson's game which is really severely underrated in my eyes. That he has got those little balls in behind, and he does provide. Maybe he does it too often, and maybe it doesn't work out sometimes. But he's willing to take risks, and I think that's a part of his game that maybe we don't see as much and we don't praise as much, I think. But we've got Liz in the chat here. So Hendo with a chip on his shoulder is fun to watch. That's absolutely fucking true. I love it when Hendo comes on, he's barking orders and he's clapping, he's telling everyone where to go. And I mean, that's what you expect as a captain. But when Hendo comes onto the pitch, he won't have been happy to be on the bench with Farrell in a game of this magnitude. Obviously, like we said, he got that little injury in the previous game, but he won't have been happy if Klopp went with that conversation with Klopp, would he? That Klopp said, "Oh, you're going to be on the bench today." He'll have wanted to come on and had a point to prove, and I think he did that, didn't he?
Oh, gotcha. But I think none of them obviously this goes without saying, it's an obvious point to make, but none of them want to be on the bench. So much is made of Salah and Mane's reactions whenever they're taken off early, let alone not even started in the first place. And he's the captain on top of that. So he did almost sort of have a point to prove, to come on and go, look, I'm far from done. Ignore all the Twitter alerts. You know what I mean? He's a phenomenal player, and I do genuinely think he's one of those players that when he eventually does retire, hopefully far from now, people are going to look back and realise just how important he was. I think, Doug touched on it earlier. He does. He's been disrespected ever since he signed from Sunderland. It was conversations around, is he good enough for the club? Then it was conversations around, is he as good as Gerrard? Does he have the character necessary to carry the armband? And now it's questions of, is he a bit too old now? Can he still do it in a Liverpool midfield? Well, of course he can still do it in a Liverpool midfield. I don't think Klopp would play him if he didn't think he could do it in a Liverpool midfield. Absolutely, we need to. This is a Liverpool team based on meritocracy, but ultimately he does come up with the goods. And I think, just look at James Milner. 5 years or so older, and still coming up with the goods every now and then. Obviously it's a very different sort of player. He's more of a sort of utility man at this point, and there's more of an emphasis on what he brings to the side beyond the pitch. But Henderson does that too, and I think it's important that we have these sort of discussions and don't just focus on sort of technical quality, because we know he's not Gerrard. We've known that since he signed. But there's so many other sort of facets to his game that I think people who've switched on have noticed and appreciate.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like you said, Farrell, it's understanding that he's not the same player, but it's also understanding that I think he's 32 in June, Henderson. So he's no spring chicken. I mean, he's younger than me, but by a year. I mean, I'm 33 this year, but I'm not a professional footballer, so there we go. Wish I was, but he's 32 this year, so he might go down the same route as a James Milner. But I think the difficult conversation Klopp will have with him is that in certain games he might not play. It might be we're playing a team where we need a Harvey Elliott to break that. to break the lines against the low block. We need those players who are going to drop in deep and can take a player on and play a pass, who've got the agility maybe and the energy in the legs as he gets a little bit older. I'm not saying this season, but in seasons to come, he might go down that similar route, mightn't he, Doug, in terms of maybe not playing 40, 50 games, but playing 30 games and then the rest of those games that he used to play, a Harvey Elliott can fill in, or a Naby, like you said, a Naby Keita can fill in, who like you said, done well in the AFCON, and hopefully, fingers crossed, can stay fit for the remainder of the season for us.
Yeah, touch wood. I think that's the main thing you would have to say about Mr. Naby Keita. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think I don't think Henderson's in the position now he can play every single game, and this is the thing. Squad depth is key. Really, really key is having a much competition for places as well. But you look at the midfield that we've got: Fabinho, Thiago, Keita, Curtis Jones, Henderson, Milner. Like, there's so many options. Ox. Like, there's so many options. So yeah, I think you'll see with him getting a little bit older, he might actually have not a bit part to play, because he's still going to be so important for us. But I do think that he will get rotated ever so slightly even more.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more. But let's have a look through more of the comments. We've got Zubin says his leadership is key, which is exactly right. We've got Dave, the lads. Nice one for jumping on, Dave. Dan's put, to be fair, I think Keita has been brilliant 90% of the time this season. It's only injuries and the fact that we've managed his games right that holds him back slightly. Yeah, exactly. And then we've got Liz, saying James freaking Milner is the correct pronunciation. We don't hold back on his podcast. I'll just call him James fucking Milner, because he's 36 and he's just an absolute beast. I saw some stats actually today that he's played like 275 games for us, which is like, I think it's like 70 more than he played for Man City, which it seems a bit mad, doesn't it, Farrell? That he seems to have been he's like part of the furniture now. He's been around that long, and you kind of do forget how many games he's racked up for us over those years.
I don't know if you lads sort of remember, when he first sort of signed, the general sort of prevailing feeling seemed to be, a player on his last legs. City would seem to be very keen to just dump and get rid. But he's been, at least up there, if not the best sort of free transfer we've had for some time now. And I think, it's, as we were saying, earlier, he's been obviously a fantastic utility player for Jurgen Klopp. He's filled in where, if you asked him to play in goal, he'd play in goal. He's just that kind of professional. And, I think one moment I sort of want to point to, one moment that sort of stuck with me this season, it's sort of, I think it was it? Yeah, it was in the League Cup. I think Diaz's debut, and he's sort of they were all sort of, they're on the pitch sort of pre-game, doing little rondos and that, and you could see sort of Milner going to sort of, put his arm around him, have a word in his ear, sort of thing, and sort of make him, I suppose, to feel a bit more sort of part of the side. And I think, again, this comes down to, appreciating the players we have on the pitch, and, when they're at their brilliant best. But we also need to appreciate figures like James Milner in the team, figures like Jordan Henderson in the team, players that can be that link between the senior team and the academy, players that can make, new players you feel welcome, because they're worth a lot more than a lot of fans seem to rate them. At least a lot of fans on Twitter seem to rate them. And I think, keeping him potentially for another year, as seems to be the talk, would be a wise move, I think, for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that's why when that was met with a bit of anxiety, I think that was one of the words I seen people use, that they were worried that his wage was going to take up some wage of what we might pay Salah, or just bullshit,
That's nonsense, isn't it?
His value to this squad and this side is invaluable. Like, he's been around the block. He knows exactly what he's doing. New players coming in, he knows he can give that correct advice, because he's not only a coach as a player because of the age he is. He's also still playing, and he's going on the field and telling people this is how you do it, going on the field and doing it, and then they're like, well, he knows what he's talking about because he's done it, and he's wore the t-shirt, he's won everything. So yeah, just a model pro, isn't he? But Farrell, I don't want to hold you back, because I know you need to shoot off, don't you? So I don't want to keep chatting and asking you questions if you need to get off. So you can feel free to shoot off if you need to, because we're going to carry on just having a little rant about.
I can go for another 5 minutes. We're all good. Cool.
But yeah, let's finish with Inter then a little bit, because we've obviously touched on the Bobby goal, which was, like Doug said, it was a perfect header. It was literally eye of the needle. It reminds me of the Mane goal against Villa, with the cross and the way Mane got across his marker and then flicked it into the far corner. Maybe not as eye of the needle in terms of how perfect it was, but it just reminded me of that. But yeah, a great goal. And then I think it was like 10 minutes after that, we get the second, don't we, Doug, with Mo Salah, which is I think that was his 149th goal in 232 games. And I think that was another record that he got. That's the 8th game in a row consecutively in the Champions League away from home that he scored, which is another record. Which is like, you see these records now every 5-6 games. You see Mo Salah has now broken the record, blah 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 blah, and you're like, oh, another one, and you kind of just you just accept it now, don't you? Whereas you should be like, wow, it's another one that when you look back through the history books when he retires, you're just like, wow, what a fucking player Mo Salah is. And he did it again, didn't he, to get that goal? Because obviously away goals are abolished this season, which I don't agree with, but I think we needed that second one, didn't we, to just kind of when we bring these back to Anfield, we've got a bit more in the bank in terms of maybe going forward and getting another one early doors.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it was very, very good play as well. Like Trent, is actually with his left foot. He actually crosses with his left foot. I think Van Dijk gets the header down. I think Firmino gets in the way of Diaz. And then obviously, Salah scores. But the one thing that really impressed me about that was his instinct of finishing, knowing that he can get. I think it went through about 3 defenders' legs, which is quite impressive. Anyway, but the funniest bit of that moment was Van Dijk is literally behind Dumfries, and it looks like basically when Salah scores, he literally goes to basically bear hug him from the back. It's absolutely hilarious. But we needed that second goal, because I think to go with a 2-0 lead, they're going to have to score at Anfield regardless anyway. But it's given their task a lot harder now, especially. And to be honest, apart from obviously like the Chanahoglu chance that went off the bar, I can't remember Alisson having a save to make.
No, I don't think there was. I think there's a few times where I think Dzeko is almost through, and then Van Dijk just bursts out of nowhere and just goes, "No thanks, mate. Back in your box," and just pushes him away. And then there's the other one where Martinez is kind of one-on-one with him, and it's like he's thinking about knocking it past him and running, and he kind of goes, "Actually, it's Van Dijk. I better not do that because I'm going to lose the ball." And yeah, I don't think there was that much. I mean, there was a couple of times where we're playing it round at the back, and I think it was the first half where Alisson plays a little outside of the foot, like curler, and he tries to play it to Kanate, and Kanate is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" basically, and we nearly conceive from it. But there's little moments like that where I suppose we were kind of feeling our way into the game. But like you said, Doug, I don't think there was much else. I think it was kind of I think there was one offside where Dzeko runs through and scores, but it was offside. I think like the Burnley game where they had loads of chances, but they were all offside. I think it kind of maybe seemed like it was a bit more even because of those. But yeah, I think it was pretty even, I suppose, on the balance. But the 2 late goals kind of did it for us, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing for me is the performance of Kanate has to be mentioned as well. I thought him and Van Dijk were just incredible in the San Siro. And not many teams can say that they can go to the San Siro twice in one season and basically win both times.
Yeah, Farrell, what thoughts on that? Going to San Siro twice?
Yeah, no, spot on.
Twice?
I think
Amazing.
No, I want to carry something off on Doug's point there about Konate, because I think what's particularly impressive is the fact that he has sort of done this quite regularly throughout the season, hasn't he? Sort of, skipping large parts of game and then just being thrown on, starting obviously against, the best defender in the world at the moment, Virgil van Dijk. But you've still got to be a good defender yourself, ultimately. And I think it's testament certainly to his quality. He just didn't look troubled at all, by the occasion, by the threat. It was, and I don't use this lightly, but almost sort of Van Dijk-esque in his calmness. And I think we do need to take great stock in the fact that he has, when he has been lumped on, whether it's been at Old Trafford or it has been at San Siro, he has looked impeccably calm against top class, opposition. I know we're sort of looking at a sort of somewhat older Eden Dzeko there, but you've also got Lautaro Martinez as well. So you've got some genuinely top class sort of attacking talent there, and the pair of them together, I mean, it's looking to be one of those sort of phenomenal sort of partnerships. And what's frightening is you look at back and you sort of look at players like Joe Gomez. I mean, 2 years ago, I don't think any sort of Liverpool fan would have thought anyone is going to displace Gomez in this partnership. He looked frightening next to Van Dijk, and now we're in a situation where we've got Konate and Matip regularly sort of rotating. Gomez, bless him, he's not had the best of luck with injuries, but as we said, we need a full squad for the season. There's going to be 40 plus games in a season, so Gomez will get his chance presumably at some point. But yeah, no, I'm chuffed to bits with Konate. I think he doesn't get enough praise.
No, and I think let's start some Norwich stuff. So Farrell, if you do need to shoot, just do so, and we'll.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I've just looked at the time. I'm just gonna jump. Thanks again for having me on, and lovely to meet you, Doug.
Lovely to meet you, Farrell. Cheers.
Cheers for jumping on, lads. Nice one.
Take care, lads.
Ta-ra. Right, let's get this banner sorted. Let's move on to Norwich, Doug, because we're getting up to 20 minutes before kick-off. There we go. And like Farrell's just been saying there, Konate, we haven't even mentioned him up until that point, and I suppose that's a testament to how good the team was overall. And what are your thoughts on Konate? Obviously, he's done really well. Do you think he might start today?
I do think he'll start today, and I think Matip will be used against Leeds. I think he will start today, and he deserves to have a start as well. But the one thing for me that's really impressed me about Konate is that whenever he's played this season, he's just seamlessly dropped in like he's been playing for a long, long time. And I just think he's just. I mean, he's only 22. He's going to get better and better and better. And yes, I know he's had some shaky moments in his Liverpool career so far, but that I thought he came of age the other night against Inter Milan, and I think if he does start today, then it'll give him more confidence in getting like a wee run of games. And I think we are rotating Matip and Konate very, very well. I think Klopp's using his squad a lot better than he has done in previous years, at least.
Yeah, I think he's just we're kind of usually, like, especially last year, we were down to bare bones, and I think I don't know if Matip, it's like I think when he plays 3 in a row, that's when Klopp goes, right, 3 in a row, take him out, and then we'll give him some time. And then, like I said, Konate 20. I think Konate's 23 this year, which is scary because, like you said, he's come in now and again, and he's just looked. I think he's had a few shaky moments. Like, it's not been all plain sailing. He's had a few shaky moments where maybe he's the wrong side of the attacker, but that's another thing that he'll learn as he grows up and as he learns our game, especially because it's so specific in the way that we defend as well. But he's got, like you said, he's got that pace. He's tall. He's got the passing range, definitely, because he was proving that, and he showed that. And also when he played against Man United at Old Trafford, I thought he was absolutely top quality as well. So he's done it in the biggest games and in the biggest venues against hostile environments. So he's definitely capable. But Liz has just put out, just noticed a comment, Douglas the Lion-Hearted spouting facts. Should get it on your gravestone, lad. That's quality.
Yeah, Liz always calls me Douglas the Lion-Hearted on any time I do a stream. She always calls me. It just seems to have been something that's stuck with me since I've been on it's been on YouTube. But no, she's one of my biggest supporters. So thank you, Liz. Yeah, I might well have to take that to my gravestone for sure.
That's boss. Thanks for jumping on with us, Liz. But we've also got another comment from the lads over the 1892 Reds podcast. Nice one for jumping on, lads. I think Klopp plays a strong side for the next 3 games and then rests for the FA Cup game. Yeah, that to me would say obviously Alisson, Trent, Matip. Matip would come back in if you're playing strongest. That would include Matip, wouldn't it? So you go Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk, Matip, Robertson, and then I suppose is it Henderson, Fabinho, Thiago, and then you go and Salah, Firmino, Mane, or does Diaz come in? That's the thing. We've got so many options. You're kind of going, what is our best? But then, like the lads have said, we've got games coming up, and like you said, though, we've got games coming up where you're kind of going, well, you can see where someone's going to come in for, like the FA Cup game. You know, it's going to be wholesale changes, and obviously some first teamers in there, but there's going to be a few players who come in and get an experience of the FA Cup, and some players who drop out to have a little bit of a rest. But what are your thoughts then on the lads' comment there?
I think it's spot on, and obviously this is the first of 2 games against Norwich, and so far the aggregate is 6-0. We won 3-0 in the League Cup, and we won 3-0 in the league early in the season. And if I seem to remember, both of those games were managed by Farka. And obviously now they've got a new manager in Dean Smith. But yeah, I do think he'll go strong today. I think he'll go strong. I did see a tweet going around that potentially I think I saw something that it was Alisson, Milner, Kanati, Gomez, Tsimikas, Fabinho, Keita, Hendo, and then Diaz, Firmino, Salah. So we'll obviously just need to wait and see. We've obviously got 18 minutes before obviously the team news comes out. But yeah, I think he will go strong. I think he will go strong. I think he'll go strong against Norwich, Leeds, and then obviously the cup final, and then you'll see some rotation in the FA Cup.
Yeah, because I've got the fixtures here, which let me just test my share screen. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see if I can do it. Right, let's get rid of that. I'm not doing this very well. Sorry, everyone. But there we go. Let's get rid of the comment on there. Bloody hell, I'm not doing this again. Right, there we go. So we've got. Can you see that all right, Doug? If you can see it, everyone else can.
Yeah, I can see that perfectly.
There we go. So we've got Norwich today. Then you've got Leeds on Wednesday. And then you've got, obviously, like you said, Cup final Sunday, which I can't wait for. And then there's that other game, FA Cup against Norwich, which, like we just said, that's going to be probably the likes of Tyler Morton. And then you've got Bradley maybe, and I suppose maybe a 50-50 in terms of, like I said, experience and youth in that one. But the games come thick and fast because we've got... The good thing is the load of them are at home as well, because you've got West Ham at home there on the 5th of March. We've got the return leg of Inter at home as well, of course. And then you've got Brighton away, which is the only one in this section, obviously, apart from that one, against the Arsenal one, which has recently been put in. And then we've got the Manx at home, and then Watford at home. So there's plenty of games there. And obviously, we touched on the Diogo Jota injury, but we've got enough quality, haven't we, to at the moment anyway, touch wood, that we can get through this patch where the games are going to become thick and fast, aren't they? And I think we need all squad players. So the likes of in the Inter game, where a lot of players maybe didn't start and they were a bit upset, and obviously you've got other games where I think there was a game where Curtis Jones, Minamino, Origi, and someone else all didn't even, and Joe Gomez didn't even get in the squad. So we're going to need everyone, aren't we?
Yeah, and as we said, it's competition for places, isn't it? And yeah, obviously you still got Taki, you still got Origi to come in, you still got Ox to come in as well. So lots of spaces up for grabs. But I do think that we may see Origi, we may see Minamino being used at some point. I would probably see them in the FA Cup. I don't know if they'll be used for the the league games. But I mean, it's just the one thing that really pleases me this season. It's just so nice to have a bench where you can basically say, "Wow." Because I think the bench the other night, I think was Kelleher, Gomez, like Henderson, Milner, Minamino, like so many options there. You can just bring on to change the game. It's nice having actually a bench where we're actually very competitive now. And I've been saying this for a while. I think we're competitive to go on all four fronts this season, and it's nice to still be obviously in the League Cup, the FA Cup. It's a nice change.
Yeah, I think because in seasons gone by, we maybe haven't had the strength and depth to kind of go on those fronts, and then Klopp would obviously prioritise Champions League and Premier League. So when we did get knocked out of those domestic cups, we're like, well, doesn't matter. Man City are going to win it anyway. That was usually the case, but I think this season, you look at the squad going, is he like, they're not even playing, they're not even in the squads, and then it's kind of like, well, come Leeds games, and obviously cup final, Kelleher, if Klopp stays true to his word, Kevin Kelleher is going to start that game, which I think he deserves, doesn't he? After I think Alisson played in the last game because he was out previously with an injury or he had COVID or something like that. But if Klopp said he's going to play, then that he's going to play. So there's plenty of games for these players, isn't he? So it's going to be an interesting one. I'm just having a look now because the league table. So league table is as follows. I haven't even got it up. Let me just get it up. So we are 9 points behind Man City at the moment, aren't we? But we've got that game in hand. I'm just going to look at the scores. Actually, West Ham are 1-1 with Newcastle at the moment. So yeah, 9 points behind, game in hand, and then like we said, those fixtures that we've got there, especially because with most of them being at home, you can see us going on a little bit of even more of a run than we already are. Obviously, I think we're unbeaten in 10 at the moment, which is really good. But I think, like we said, with that strength and depth at the moment and the games coming thick and fast, I think that's where Liverpool are at the best. It's when we have breaks and then we come back and we take a little bit of getting back into the groove. But when those games keep rolling over and over and we've got that quality and hopefully we keep everyone fit and hopefully Jota isn't out for too long, even if he does miss the cup final, which will be gutting for us and gutting for him. Once he's back for the other games, it's just a good time to be a fan, isn't it? Because like we said, we've got that strength and depth.
Yeah, and I think you've summed it up perfectly. We don't do well when there's breaks. We seem to do well when there's game after game after game after game, and I think we'll be fine through this wee period. Obviously, Man City Tottenham is obviously the tea time game today. You would expect City to win that game, but Tottenham have been a little bit of a bogey side for them, so you sort of got a little bit of hope that you can, hopefully they can get something, but not if they play the way that they played against Wolves. They were absolutely horrific against Wolves. Were Tottenham, but they've got a wee hard run coming up. I think they've got Everton away coming up. They've got the derby on the Sunday, I think it is, and then also I think they're away to Palace as well, and I think they've got Wolves coming up as well. So not some easy games in there, and I think they've got Brighton coming up as well. And Brighton's record against the top six is impeccable this season as well. Picking up points here and there as well. So I'm not giving up on the title yet. And if we win today, it puts the pressure on Manchester City.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, I was looking at Man City's fixtures the other day, like just thinking, where are they going to slip up? I was just like trying to picture it in my mind. But today could be. I mean, I'm not going to hold out hope that Tottenham are going to do anything, but it could happen. And like you said, there's games coming up where they could drop points, and that's the thing. We just need to. I think Guardiola done an interview recently where he called us like a pain in the arse because we're just constantly there, and I think that's what we need to do. That's all we need to do. Just keep winning games, keep applying that pressure, and hopefully they'll. I mean, we've got to go to their place in. I think it's April the 9th, I think, or it's April sometime when we play them. And after that game, we've got the 6 Premier League games left after that. So if we get to that point and we're still within touching distance and we manage to beat them at their place, 6 games after that, it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? In terms of those games.
Yeah, because I think it's something like Everton, Newcastle, Southampton. I think Tottenham are in there somewhere as well, and also we have. I think it's Wolves on the last day of the season as well. And I'm just looking at the last game of the season. Stevie G going to the Etihad to win us the title would just be fantastic.
It's Coutinho to score it. Like, it's just it would just be absolutely fucking amazing, wouldn't it? But let's have a look. I've missed a few comments here. Let's have a look through these. So 1892 Breads podcast will be interesting. Hopefully we show a great performance today and Norwich are just in glorious isolation. Steve McManaman, what a guy. I haven't missed him recently, I'm not gonna lie. Just drives me insane on the commentary. We've got Dan in. I think we will regularly see 3 to 4 changes game to game throughout the remainder of the season, especially these next few games, and then wholesale changes in the FA Cup. Yeah, absolutely. Lads are back on another one. Apart from cup final, 7 out of 8 games at home. That's amazing, isn't it? That's like,
yeah, that
doesn't happen really. And I suppose when you don't really notice it when you keep going away, but then when you do you notice it more when you're like, oh, we've got loads of games at home now, because not saying it's a banker when we play at home, but when we've got fans back in the stadium, and it's like the old cliche, the 11th man, but it is that's the thing. Like, we missed it so much last season without having it, and we've got it back this season, so it's having Norwich come to town. I suppose it's not a banker, but it's odds are on that we should do the job today, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should do. And you know, the thing is, Dean Smith has given us problems in the past as well, but they've just lost, I think, one of their strikers out for the season. I'm not going to pronounce his name because I'll butcher it anyway. It's something. His name begins with IDAH. I think it's Adam Ida. I think is.
Oh yeah, no, you mean, yeah.
I think is how you pronounce that. But so he is out of injured. They're still dangerous. I mean, obviously, Billy Gilmore midfield is a good player to watch out for. I was absolutely amazed, and I don't know about you, Mick, but Cantwell going to Bournemouth on loan.
Very, very.
I never saw that coming. Never saw that coming. So, you have to actually wonder as well, looking into it, that Norwich are. I mean, after, like, obviously you give them a free hit against Man City, you can give them a free hit against Liverpool, but after this, I think their games are like Leeds, Brentford, and then Everton, I think, from memory. So that's 9 points that they'll be looking at and thinking they could get something, because after the Liverpool game, there are 3 must-win games for them that they'll look to obviously get points from. But I just look at this Norwich side, and if I'm being honest, apart from obviously like Pukki and obviously Rashika, I think is another one to look out for. Be interested to see if Kabak plays today, because he seems to be going with Grant Hanley and I think it's Ben Gibson, if I seem to remember rightly. And watch out for Brandon Williams as well. He'll get a good reception today, obviously being United as well. Max Aarons is an interesting one as well. You know, people remember. Remember when they had Jamal Lewis, and like everyone was saying about Max Aarons, like everyone was saying Jamal Lewis was the one to watch. People weren't giving notice about Max Aarons. He's kind of lost his development a little bit, but I don't know if that's because of like Norwich being, struggling. For sure, but they have actually picked up points quite recently. The 3-0 win against Watford was very, very impressive. But yeah, I think it should be a win today. But we'll see. We'll see what happens when obviously the team news comes out. But yeah, I'm pretty confident going into this game.
Yeah, we've got 6 odd minutes to wait till it comes in, but let's have a look through these comments before we get there. We've got Jack Mac LFC. Hi gents, very sorry couldn't make it today. Sorting the cat out at the vet. Thank you very much for the invite. Yeah, we would have had Jack on today as well, so we were looking for a little panel of 4, but obviously Jack couldn't make it. But I hope everything's all right, Jack. That with your cat. Do let us know. Let me know on DM if everything goes okay with that. We've got 1890 Reds podcast, and again, for the first time in a while, we can put some table pressure on. That's a good point. That is a good point. We can put some pressure because it seems like I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, because they've been playing all the time first, and this is the first time where we play. And I know it's not direct pressure because obviously even if we win, we're still 6 points behind. But we're still gaining momentum. And if they go into that game and we blow Norwich away 5-0, they'll know. I've known that has happened, and then they've got to try and dispatch Tottenham, which I suppose it's not the easiest task. It's not going to be the most difficult task in my eyes. I don't think they're that great, but it's still a tricky game, isn't it, Doug, for them today? So that's a good point from the lads there, isn't it?
It is a tricky game, and as we said, Tottenham in the past have, got results there. There's been a few 2-2s, if I seem to remember. There was a 4-0 a couple of seasons ago. I think City won 3-0 last season as well. So, Tottenham have been a bit of a pain in the to obviously pardon the pun, but they've been a bit of a pain in the arse for City. So, we can all just focus on what we're doing. Don't worry about what City do. If City's drop points, then it's an absolute bonus. And if they get beat, then it's the perfect day for us.
Yeah, exactly. Jack's also with another comment. The rotation is key, going to play a huge part in the success this year. Teams in the bottom and teams fighting for fourth will have a massive say in the title. Yeah, absolutely. Also, we got Jack with another comment. My money's on us doing a job, and Wolves away. City will lose points. Yeah. And I've just saw something on Twitter from, I don't want to name drop him, but there's a guy on Twitter who usually gets the team spot on about 10 minutes before kickoff. And he's just tweeted now. So apparently the team is Alisson in goal, Gomez right back, Matip and Van Dijk, Tsimikas left back, a midfield 3 of Henderson, Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain, and then a forward 3 of Salah, Mane and Diaz.
Ooh.
I mean, we've got 3 minutes for that to be confirmed, but he's usually spot on. So, what are your thoughts on that, Doug?
Gomez at right back's an interesting one. I think we're going back to the 16-17 season where he got really badly injured at Burnley when he was playing right back. So, yeah, look, rotation is key. Gomez, I'm happy to see Gomez. I think Gomez has been kind of waiting for his chance, and it's nice to see him play there. Tsimikas is very reliable as well, and obviously Henderson, Keita, and Ox. Yeah, I like that. I like that midfield as well, and Diaz up front on his own. That's very interesting. That so yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited if that's the team. Because I've got a feeling that Diaz might get 1 or 2 today. So I'm very confident about that. And obviously, I don't know if I should obviously say this, but me and you have triple captained Mo Salah. So we're hoping that he gets a couple of goals.
Yeah, just a few. And shout out Dan Moxon, who triple captain Trent, and it looks like Trent's on the bench. Unlucky. Oh my god, that is hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I'm just going to refresh now and see if it actually came out. I don't think it will until another 30 odd seconds. But Gomez at right backs. I mean, we've just been saying earlier in the show that I don't know if the right term is you can't see where he's going to get minutes, but then there's loads of games. But then we've got so many good centre halves. He's going to have to just go right. I don't want to play right back, but he's going to have to just go right. Well, I want to play games at the end of the day, and I suppose if he does well at right back, then Klopp might go, well, you've showed your fitness in that game. We'll bump you up to ahead of Kanate for the next game, and then rotate those two whenever Matip is having a rest. I suppose it's trying to balance them, and I think Klopp done an interview saying that. I think it was in his presser actually before the Norwich game that he understands that players aren't going to be happy with him saying they're not playing or whatever, but they can be angry with him. But then when they come in the next day, they've got to have the right mentality to kind of show him that he was wrong. And I think that's what Gomez has got to do today, hasn't he? I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be nice to see him again because he's had bit parts sort of games. Obviously, I think mostly League Cup appearances as well. So yeah, it'll be nice to see him back, and hopefully he can get 90 minutes. I think if he gets 90 minutes today, I think that will really, really help his confidence for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like you said, Tsimikas, that's not even one where we're like, oh, Tsimikas is in today. It's more of a Tsimikas is in. We expect quality because he's proven, hasn't he? I think even early in the season when Robertson maybe weren't at the right level, whether that be not confidence-wise, just not there, or I suppose a little niggling injuries. He just didn't seem himself, and I think Tsimikas kind of took full advantage of that, didn't he? And he came in and the games against Burnley, where he provides a boss assist for Jota at the first game, our first home game this season. There's other games where he's been really good, and he's such a dependable understudy, isn't he? That him getting a game isn't like a wow. It's like a fair enough. Give Robbo a rest.
Yeah, absolutely. And he obviously had to bide his time last season. Obviously, I think he had COVID. I think he was injured as well. But he's come out this season and he's been excellent. He's been really, really good, and it's nice to have obviously Robbo and then someone to just obviously come in and just take his place. And to be honest, he's slotted in seamlessly as well.
Yeah. Well, Jack's just put a comment. Very interesting that Joe needs minutes under his belt. Hope Trent isn't injured. The front three are going to be on fire. But yeah, it's now out. So let me just see if I can not fuck this up again and get it back. Get me screen on. There we go. So you see there we have got Alisson in goal. You've got Gomez right back, like I just said. And then you've got Matip and Van Dijk, Tsimikas left back, and your midfield three of Henderson, Keita, and Oxlade-Chamberlain. And you've got Mane, Diaz, and Salah. So yeah, he was spot on, weren't he? So that's sorted. Let's have a little look up here and see if there's anything about injuries. So now Joe Gomez, Matip, and Tsimikas come to defence. Henderson, Naby Keita, and Oxlade-Chamberlain make up midfield. Jota is absent due to an ankle problem. Firmino was ruled out with a muscle injury that is being assessed. Of course, we didn't know that. I'm not sure. I don't know if he would have started anyway. In my prediction, I probably wouldn't have. I would have went with that 3 anyway. But let's hope that's not bad either, because I suppose we've got options with Origi on the bench, but you don't want to lose too many consecutively, because that's when you start putting people in maybe the positions they're not meant to be in. But subs wise, let's just go through this dead quick. We've got Kelleher, we've got Fabinho, Canate, Thiago, Milner, Minamino, Robertson, Origi, and Elliott. So even still, Doug, it's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very strong bench as well. Very strong team. Lots of rotation in there as well. Yeah, I'm ready, buzzing, looking forward to the game.
Think and I think the likes of Origi maybe haven't been in the squad as well as much as maybe the hope they would be. Obviously, I think he's picked up a few injuries as well, which hasn't helped. But that bench is still quality, considering there's no Jota and Firmino in it. That you look there: Kelleher, Fabinho, Canate, Thiago, Milner, Minamino, Robertson, Origi, Elliott. Obviously, no. So I'm just thinking, who's not there? Curtis Jones isn't there.
Curtis Jones
isn't there. So I don't know if that's I don't know what that is. That might be a tactical thing, because there's Thiago, Milner, and Origi there, and Elliott there, in terms of midfield. But I suppose he's got to pick one who misses out. It just seems to be Curtis Jones recently, which obviously he's not going to be happy with. Of course, he's not going to be happy with that. But I think in the games he's played, I think the thing is, at the age he is, he comes in and he looks good for a couple of games, and he has a game where he doesn't maybe set the world alight, but then you think, well, he's just turned 21. I think Harvey Elliott is maybe the exception to the rule. At 18, he's just a freak of nature, that he's just so good. But Curtis Jones is a player that's come through the ranks, and he's still got a lot to... I fancy him to stick around, Curtis Jones. Obviously, if it comes to it and he does leave, I hope he doesn't. But I think he's got enough quality, hasn't he, to kind of still have the fire in his belly to come back and prove Klopp wrong, because he's not putting him in the squad. So there's obviously a reason why, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And as we said, this is a competition for places in the squad, and he has to leave somebody out, and unfortunately Curtis Jones is obviously fallen victim to that. But the thing is, for me, I think Curtis Jones is a very, very good footballer. I think we can remember that for sure. But no, I think he'll get game time eventually. I think it's all about sort of keeping the squad fresh. And with obviously these 3 games coming up, you may see Curtis Jones against Leeds. You just never know.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's the thing. Completely. So what we've got a comment from Liz. He has to get his first goal, like you said, Doug. I hope he enjoys every moment of it. I think he's had a few chances, hasn't he? I think he had a good chance against Inter, actually, where a little 1-2 with Trent, and their defender just gets back just in time. But hopefully it does happen today. And then we've got one from Jack. Do you expect Klopp to go strong in the FA Cup? Very interesting that we're wanting rhythm before the final. I don't know, because let's just see. So the FA Cup game's actually after the final, isn't it? So the final is on the 27th, and then the FA Cup game. So the thing is, we've gone obviously a little bit weaker. Obviously, some enforced and some not in this game, like the likes of Fabinho's on the bench and whatever. So they'll be ready to go for Leeds, and then 4 games after we've got the cup final. You imagine the cup final is going to be as strong as it can be, apart from Kelleher in goal for Alisson. I imagine that's going to be the case. Obviously, if Jota's back, he'll play and whatever. The Norwich game, that gives us is on the 2nd. So we've got a little game there where, like we said, we can mix and match some of the youth players, and then we've then got West Ham coming to Anfield on the 5th. So that's a good excuse to rest maybe the likes of a Joel Matip or a Fabinho or a Mo Salah maybe in that game, and then he comes back in for the West Ham game refreshed. And I think that's it, isn't it? I think Joe Gomez playing right back, if he has a good performance today, then he hasn't been played there regularly, but if he shows it today that he's still going to be good enough there in those games coming up, Trent could be maybe rotated a little bit more with Gomez, couldn't he?
Yeah, I think this is the thing. We've been a little bit worried about, obviously, right back cover, but obviously you got young Connor Bradley, who I probably expect him to play in the FA Cup anyway. I think Bradley will play in the FA Cup. And yeah, obviously Milner's played there right back as well. But I think we said this off air, but a little bit concerned potentially about maybe Milner being right back, because obviously if he gets a yellow card, then you worry if he'll last 90 minutes. But no, Gomez right back. I'm happy with that today. You've obviously got Bradley, you've got Milner, and someone did mention Fabinho used to be a right back, but I don't want Fabinho at right back because Fabinho at CDM is one of the best in the Premier League, if not world football as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But Jack's just put another comment here. Origi, the GOAT, knows that there's a final to play. So yeah, he hasn't been in the squad recently as much, but now maybe he'll come on today. And then to be honest, if he comes on against Chelsea and scores, it'll just be typical Divock Origi, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. He just pops up at the most perfect moment to score goals. A couple more comments before we head off. The 1892 Reds podcast again. Can't wait to travel to Liverpool from London for the FA Cup game and see that Klopp plays the under-18. I hope not, lads. I really hope not, for your sake, because I imagine, like you said, he'll play a few. He'll play a few of the big lads, won't he? He won't go full, like just all the under-18s. Hopefully, anyway, just for your sake, at least. Liz, I think it's amazing that we have enough squad depth to talk about rotation and game management. Absolutely, and I think, especially when the season won the league anyway, it was pretty much the same team every week. We were blessed with injuries that year, that we didn't get any injuries. Obviously, we got a couple that we had to mix and match, maybe the midfield when we put Milner in, and Brexit midfield, Milner, Hendo, and Wijnaldum, which was so effective. But we've now got rather than a system midfield and inverted commas, we've got more creativity in there, haven't we? We've got Thiago's came in.
Yeah.
Since then, we've got Harvey Elliott who's come in. Obviously, Oxlade-Chamberlain's and Naby Keita, they're really both attacking midfielders, really. So, in terms of actually, let's talk about that. So, the three we've got today is Henderson, Keita, and Oxlade-Chamberlain. Imagine Henderson's going to sit, isn't he? And then maybe Ox on the right and Keita on the left. I think that's probably how it's going to set up, isn't it?
I think that's going to be it. Yeah, I think the thing is, I think Keita looks much better on the left than he does the right, and I think Ox looks better on the right than he does on the left. So I think it'll be that. I think Henderson will definitely be holding, and then Keita on the left, and then obviously Ox on the right. But I'm excited to see Diaz. I think Diaz will give Norwich a lot of problems today. So I'm just actually trying to find Norwich's starting lineup actually, just as a sort of to look.
Yeah, I've got it here. I'll put it on the screen dead quick, just so we can have a quick look. Let's get rid of that comment from Liz as well. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so you've got Anks Gunn in goal. You've got Max Aarons, like you touched upon before. Grant Hanley and Ben Gibson. Brandon Williams left back. Kenny McLean, Matthias Norman, and Billy Gilmore midfield. Then you've got Rashika and Sargent trying to feed Timu Pukki. So I mean, it's not the worst team. Obviously, there's some quality in there. Like I said, Billy Gilmore's a good player. You've got Aarons, who's pacey. You've got Rashika, who is pacey and also a tricky winger. And obviously, Pukki will just be there to feed on any scraps that he gets, if he gets any. So, I mean, yeah. Are you worried about that team at all, Doug? I'm not, but I mean, it's like I said, it's not the worst team, is it? But there's if you look at our team there, like just have a little scroll up, seeing Joe Gomez at right back's a bit like flashback to like 4 years ago. It's a bit mad, but
yeah,
look, the quality there is, especially at home, should be enough, shouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's quite interesting that live score have got Sadio Mane down the middle.
Yeah.
But no, to be fair, Sadio Mane did actually play like the first game against Zimbabwe for Senegal down the middle, and didn't really have that much success, and then he was moved back to the left, and we all know what happened after that. You know, obviously winning it as well. But no, I think looking at that team, I think we should be fine. It's the amount of Scottish players in that Norwich side is quite impressive. Only for Kenny McLean, Billy Gilmore, and Grant Hanley. It's quite rare to see that. But no, I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine today.
Yeah, I suppose the fill on the Scottish quota seems Robbo's not playing, so there's a few there's a few on the pitch at least. Let me just fly through these comments before. Actually, I made a little video today, which I've been meaning to make for a while, which is a little promotion video just for Cali, who, if you look, you can see the bottom of our screen. He Cali Design sponsors this podcast, which you can go over to his website and get 10% off. But I made a little clip just to put in, just so I don't have to keep interweaving it into my script every podcast. So have a little look at this and see what you think. The Copy podcast is sponsored by CaliDesigns.co.uk. From Bobby's Boss Kung Fu Kick celebration to Gerard lifting the trophy in Istanbul, there's loads of stuff that you can get on his boss website if you want to head over. CaliDesigns.co.uk. There's, like I said, there's prints, there's t-shirts. I've got the old Bobby with the Premier League trophy, which is Boss, which I wear all the time, which is class to wear, Boss quality. But like I said, there's loads on his website, which I can just show you there quick. So there's loads of prints, which you can see here. There's the Klopp with the Champions League trophy. There's Hendo with the trophy. There's Gerard with the old Olympiacos print, which I've got myself as well. There's loads on there, which you can find. And like I said, if you just enter the code COPIPOD10 on checkout, you can get yourself there 10% off. So if you like the look of anything on the website, do head over and type in COPIPOD10 to get yourself 10% anything from his boss website. He does ship internationally as well, and he's a local red. He's a local artist, so supporting local as well, which is what we need to be doing as well. So all boss stuff. So yeah, head over CaliDesigns.co.uk, enter the code COPIPOD10 and get yourself some boss stuff. Nice. Thought that went well, Doug. What do you think? Views on the
Yeah.
video? And I'll probably need to
Yeah.
add some music on that, I reckon. Just a little bit of, some jazzy music underneath it.
Aye, because StreamYard have actually given you the option now that you can actually play music now. That isn't
Noticed
with
that.
copyright. So
Yeah.
fair play. No, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, just a little bit of calming music would probably make it.
Yeah. I
But
did it. I
that-
recorded it, and I was like, actually, I probably should have put it like a bit of, just a little instrumental underneath, or one of the StreamYard tunes, because I've been through the StreamYard tunes, and there's a few on there actually, which are pretty good. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in. But before we go, Doug, thanks for jumping on. Let's have some score predictions from you.
I'm going big. I think if we get an early goal, I think the floodgates will open. I'm going to go 5-0.
Ooh, yes, please. That would be absolutely fucking lovely if that happened. I'm gonna go. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go 4-0.
4-0.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4. Like I said, I can see us getting one early. I hope it's Diaz. I hope Diaz gets an early one. It's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be interesting if he does play on the left or through the middle. I imagine it's gonna be Mane through the middle and keep Diaz on that left where he's most comfortable. I don't think.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's not fair to play Diaz up front and play Mane on the left, but I think Mane is more, like you said, he played there for Senegal and has done for a few games, and historically he's played there a few times for us as well. But keeping Diaz in that left position, left-hand side of a 3 up top, is going to be to our benefit and to his benefit if we can start the game in the right way. But before we go, let's have a look at what everyone else is saying in terms of score predictions. So Paul, great show as usual. Nice one, Paul. 3-0 for me. Up the fucking Reds. Get in there. Let's have a look. David, Diaz hat-trick today. Oh, I'd love that. I'd absolutely fucking love that. What else have we got? So David's saying 4-1. So the 4-1 Diaz hat-trick. Superb. Liz is going. Great artist, great spot. 5-0. Oh, 5-0.
Oh, Liz, liking it.
Yeah. Superb. 1890 Red Podcast, 3-0. So yeah, there's no goals conceded apart from David, which is he? I don't know. Are you expecting to score, Dave? Pookie? Before we go, we might not have time because we're probably going to get off now, but still let us know who you reckon's going to score. I suppose with a changed back 4, it can happen. I suppose we've got Gomez right back, Simicast coming in as well. It can happen, I suppose, but I think we've got enough quality, and I think back at home, back at 3 o'clock kickoff, he's gone for Pookie. He's gone for Pookie. Might have to have a look at the odds just to see what that comes up as. But yeah, we're up to an hour and 10 minutes here, Doug. So sorry it's been so long, but we will be back.
No, don't apologise. I've really enjoyed this. It's actually nice to get back on here. Obviously, I've been meaning to get you back on my channel as well. No, absolute pleasure. And
Friday,
thank you for asking. Thank you for asking me at 11:50 this morning. And I was like, hell yeah, oh, come on.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I was going to do it last night, and I thought it's probably getting too late now, so I thought let's do it tomorrow. And I was umming and ahhing about times, and I finally picked the time. I was like, right, and I need to get some actual people, so I'm not doing it on my own. But yeah, nice one again for jumping on. Up the Reds, we've got 40 odd minutes to kick off, so we'll get out of here to let you all go and get a bevy or a cup of tea, or put your feet up, get the game on, or if you're listening to it, whatever you do, and have a good day. If you did like the video, please do like and subscribe. I think we're on 1.2 K subscribers, I think, last time I checked, which is pretty good, I suppose. A couple of videos on there. I just thought I'd highlight one before we go. There's Alex Horn, which I did an interview with recently, which was boss. So you see there, his little face. Look at his little face. Look at him. I done a podcast with Alex Horn, the Taskmaster creator, and big Liverpool fan. So we had a chat for like an hour, but in my mind it felt like 10 seconds because it didn't feel like long enough, and I just wanted to keep talking. And I was like, it was getting to like 11 o'clock at night, and I was like, Alex, I'm so sorry, you want to go to sleep, and it's getting so late. So if you haven't checked that out, please go and do that, because There's some good insight. If you do like Taskmaster and you're a Taskmaster nerd like me, then you'll enjoy it. But yeah, if you haven't watched it, go and do that. But yeah, Doug, nice one for jumping on. We'll be
Pleasure.
back hopefully very soon, maybe tomorrow, to celebrate what will be a boss Liverpool win. But nice one to everyone in the comments as well. There's been loads of comments. I don't think I got to all of them. There's been so many, but nice one to everyone for jumping in. And we'll see you all again very soon.